I think one of the main things we're trying to do, especially here with PAX, is get the word out and kind of get to boost that visibility, because without it, most people won't really notice a lot of those games, and PAX is great for that because of all the Indie Mega Booth setup, where there's a lot of new games that you haven't really seen and heard of, and it's a way to kind of put ourselves more on the radar, especially for the App Store and the like.
Yeah. So it's so for you guys in particular, just and we're hearing a lot of this from other people. So one of the main ways you're really overcoming this is kind of a boots on the ground approach and everything, and then from there making a little bit more organic and a word of mouth type approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. Getting the word out there and then taking the time to be able to connect with all kinds of media folks while we're on site here who haven't really gotten to see the game before, since this is our first major public showing.
Yep.
Right? It's a good way to be able to form some early connections before we start doing our media and review copies into our launch phase. So it's good for that. I'm really glad we got to get here for this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, the game looks great. Spring and Flow, definitely worth checking it out. And guys, keep up the great work. It looks awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey everybody, we're back, and here we have Sky Racket with Jande.
Yeah, Jande.
So, what is Sky Racket about?
Sky Racket is an arcade adventure. It's a mix of genres. It's a mix of shoot-'em-up games with block-breaking games. So it's what we're calling a shmup breaker.
Nice.
So you're basically you're a space kid. You can play as Racket Boy or Racket Girl, and you fly around crazy planets, striking balls back at the enemies. It's like an insane space tennis match.
Nice.
Against cute, nonsensical enemies.
So yeah, it really stands out. It's pretty colorful. It's and everything. But in light of that, though, what have been some of your marketing challenges with this game?
Well, we've been looking for publishing for a long while, and we decided we couldn't find it, and we decided to go full indie. So right now we're really learning how to market our game. We're learning how to talk to our online communities with different social networks.
Yep.
So, and we're from Brazil. So what we're doing here at PAX is exactly showing the game outside of our country. So right now what we're doing is trying to get as many people as we can to our social media, to our Discord server, so we can bring a lot of people to know and like and enjoy our game before we finally release it.
Nice. So you're using this as kind of a means to really narrow down and getting in tune with your audience and everything else, and then further reaching out and engaging with the people that you meet here.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, hey, definitely appreciate your time with this, and hey, hope you guys have a good rest of your PAX.
Yeah, thanks. We're gonna be here tomorrow, Friday.
Yep.
And whoever wants to come and play, they can come to the Indie Mega Booth. We're gonna be here.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and have a good one.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, I am here with Adam, and Adam, what are you guys doing? What's your company name? What's the game you're promoting here? What's going on here?
Yeah, so I'm a creative director at Flight School Studio, which is a studio of animators, artists, engineers across countries from Dallas to Montreal.
Oh, nice.
And I'm here with my buddy Bo promoting our two-man project called Creature in the Well, coming to PC and Switch this summer.
Oh, nice. All right, so tell us a little bit more about the game. What is Creature in the Well?
So Creature in the Well, the simple elevator pitch is that it is a hack-and-slash pinball game.
Oh, sweet.
To be more specific, it's like if you took a Zelda game and you shoved Breakout and Pong and pinball mechanics into it.
Wow, okay. And even go a little bit further about the game. I was playing it earlier. There's a few things that really stood out to me about it, but what would you say in general really stands out to people in terms of the gameplay, the design, things like that?
Sure. So the art is usually the first thing that people come up and talk about. I based it off one of my favorite all-time comic book illustrators named Mike Mignola, who's the creator of Hellboy. But the game is built sort of in a dungeon format, so there are 8 handmade dungeons that take the player maybe about 5 to 10 hours to beat for the whole game.
Okay.
There's items for them to collect, there's lore for them to find, and along the way they're fighting the creature, who is like the denizen of the mountain, the ancient being that lives in the deep, dark depths of the mountain that they've unearthed when they were building the machine that they were building to stop the weather, the sandstorm from enveloping this whole world.
Wow.
So, the story of the game is the player finishing the job, trying to boot the machine back up, and overcome the creature to do it.
Nice. Well, that seems really exciting and stuff. Now, on a different side of things, though, one of the main questions what we're going around asking a lot of devs today is, what have been some of your biggest marketing challenges, and what are you guys doing to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think our biggest marketing challenge is awareness. Flight School Studio is really new. We've only been around for 2 years. We do a lot of VR, AR, work-for-hire stuff, and we're trying to get into the traditional gaming space. The hardest thing for us to overcome has just been visibility. Last week, we announced the game in the Nintendo Direct. Most people that have come up to us today at PAX have been like, I saw the game in the Nindies, and then they come to play it. If that hadn't happened, I don't know that people would be looking for us or trying to find the game and play it.
Okay, so one of the main things, so like you said, exposure or whatever, but just making people aware of it in whatever way possible.
Yeah.
And is there any particular way you think that works a little bit better? I mean, what was your channels that you used to make that announcement?
Yeah, so I think that you have to lower the barrier of entry for people to engage with the game. So if you have a Twitter, if you have a website, that website should be super simple. They should be able to see like what the game is with a video or trailer when you launch it. They should be able to wish list the game the same day. The more you stagger that stuff out, the more you're asking people to remember in a month or in a couple months to come back and check, and they just won't because everyone's super busy.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first time they hear about it, you should be able to either get their email to get them on a newsletter or have them wish list the game so that they can be reminded later when it actually goes live, or all of that stuff. Just you need to have all of it organized together so that when you do actually get some people's attention, you can monopolize on it.
Yeah, nice. So just keep that engagement going all the time.
Always.
All right, cool, man. Well, it looks like you have every seat like packed for the gameplay, so that's great.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your PAX is going well, and I hope it keeps going well. I'm sure it will.
Me too. Thanks.
All right, take care, man.
Take care.
All right, and now we have Matt here. And Matt, what do you guys have going on here? It looks really exciting because this looks like something very close to my heart, which looks like it's resembling of a lot of classic RPGs. What do you got?
Yeah, what we've got here is basically a time traveling test back to the 1990s, back when the era of the gaming was sophisticated, challenging, and rewarding experience. What we're doing here is we're developing a turn-based RPG that is reminiscent of the old school classics from Square and Squaresoft, not Square Enix.
Nice.
We've got a 60-plus hour story. The game's called The Great Gaius.
Okay.
It is evolved from my Dungeons & Dragons campaign over the last 12 years. I've been a dungeon master for over 20. About 100 of my original narratives exist in the game.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive.
So it's a massive story.
Yeah.
It's about, I quote 60-plus hours, but it's more like about 100 hours of a mainline story, supplemented with side quests, including building your own city, in-depth crafting systems, multiple endings. It's a real endeavor to try to explain how epic of a story we've crafted. Like I said, it's been 12 years, and so very, very developed. We're out on Steam right now. We've been out for about 6 months. We've been doing very successful. We've had fantastic reviews.
Nice.
So it's been pretty humbling to me on seeing the response and the nostalgia that's being passed back to me. So I think we hit the nail on the head for sure.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. So the main question that we're going around here today and asking all these other indie devs is, what have been some of your main marketing challenges, and what are you guys doing to overcome them?
Well, marketing in general is a challenge for us, as we're kind of the older crowd, and we're trying to get into more of the social media stuff like that, and coming to events like PAX and certain other conventions that are local to us are very, very helpful. We always see a boost in our platforms at that point there. So we're a lot of a word of mouth and things like that. So maybe like a more of an organic approach to marketing, but someday maybe we're hope to get some social media connections and become a little bit more involved in that aspect. I think that would help a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. It sounds like so. Then your approach that's working real well is just getting boots on the ground, getting people in front of the game, and then having that word of mouth.
Exactly. No one's going to really know who Horizon's End or the Great Gaius really is, but we're pretty confident that if you get the game into your hands, it'll instantly be one of the classics that you'll put to your heart for sure.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it looks like you have a pretty packed booth right now, so keep up the great work, you guys. This is looking great.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for talking with us.
No problem.
Hey, everybody, and we are back for the final time. I got Mustapha here. This is post-PAX. Mustapha, how's it going, buddy?
Going well on my end. How about you?
Good. Just a little tired. As we were just discussing pre-wrap-up here, we're both kind of a little tired. We had busy weekends. This is actually fast forward a couple of weeks past PAX, and here we are now kind of just giving our own little take on it. And I got to say, outside of PAX in itself, this was quite a fun episode to work and compile, and a lot of editing, but that's besides the point. It was fun regardless. Mustapha, so let's hear it from you, buddy. How was your PAX, man? What you get from it?
Oh man, there was a lot to be had for sure, but I think kind of coming off of what we do and the purpose of this show as a whole, to see that an event like PAX, which was previously kind of dominated by bigger companies, to see the sense of larger names like Bethesda and Blizzard, all but kind of gone from the event. In some ways, sure, that might have been disappointing to some, but I think it really kind of paved the way for, I think this was the biggest the mega booth's ever been, the indie mega booth. So that was really cool to watch. It was very nice, to kind of witness the opportunity for a lot of these independent developers to really kind of steal the show. I think we see too often it's kind of easy for someone to flex a corporate muscle and pull in a couple of $100,000 to kind of push aside all of these other people and have kind of the biggest presence at an event like this. But this year that didn't necessarily feel like it was the case.
Yeah, that's a really good observation, because I mean, I've been going to PAX now for about, I think this was my 8th year. And I've made a lot of observations over the years of changes and things like that, and they do a really good job putting this event together. But to your point, it definitely was the largest that the Indie Mega Booth has ever felt. And even slightly beyond that, there was still a great presence from other indie devs, whether they were just a small studio or even a much larger studio. Still, that indie presence was pretty prominent throughout the showroom floor, and it was just kind of relieving to see that, and just to see how we've been involved all this time with indie games, and since they're since they started and where they've come now. And I think this is, like you said, this is a really good showcase of how that is starting to really bubble up, and they're really taking a strong stance on that, and like you said, kind of stealing the show to some degree. So yeah, it was awesome to see that. And I mean, in light of that, we had a great opportunity here to talk to all these indie devs and others that we didn't have a chance to put into the interview or whatever. So it was really great to get to that insight and hear what they had to talk. And well, what were some of the interesting things that stood out to you from all those interviews that we just heard?
Yeah, I think from a standpoint of kind of what we do on a more routine basis, I think while we do touch on challenges that people encounter, a lot of our interviews tend to be a little bit more geared toward what people's individual strategies were. And so getting to kind of focus on the nitty-gritty, like the parts that really can kind of make this a more difficult process, this being marketing an independent title. It was nice to be able to zero in on that as a topic of focus to begin with.